If I might have a moment of your time.
Grand Enchanter Fiona?
Leader of the Mage Rebellion. Is it not dangerous for you to be here?
I heard of this gathering, and I wanted to see the fabled Herald of Andraste with my own eyes. If it's help with the breach you seek, perhaps you should look among your fellow mages.
I'm surprised the leader of the mages wasn't at the conclave.
Yes. You were supposed to be, and yet somehow you avoided death.
As did the Lord Seeker, you'll note. Both of us sent negotiators in our stead in case it was a trap. I won't pretend I'm not glad to live. I lost many dear friends that day. It disgusts me to think the Templars will get away with it. I'm hoping you won't let them.
So you think the Templars are responsible?
Why wouldn't she?
Lucius hardly seems broken up over his losses, if he's concerned about them at all. You heard him. You think he wouldn't happily kill the Divine to turn people against us? So yes, I think he did it. More than I think you did it, at any rate.
And what do you want in exchange for the mage's help?
Oh, I haven't promised the Inquisition our help yet. Consider this an invitation to Redcliffe. Come, meet with the mages. An alliance could help us both, after all. I hope to see you there. Au revoir, my Lord Herald.
Come, let us return to Haven.
We spread word the Inquisition was coming. But you should know that no one here was expecting us.
No one? Not even Grand Enchanter Fiona?
If she was, she hasn't told anyone. We've arranged use of the tavern for the negotiations.
Agents of the Inquisition, my apologies. Magister Alexius is in charge now, but hasn't yet arrived. He's expected shortly. You can speak with the former Grand Enchanter in the meantime.
The veil is weaker here than in Haven. And not merely weak, but altered in a way I have not seen.
We should talk to the Grand Enchanter.
Welcome, agents of the Inquisition. What has brought you to Redcliffe?
We're here because of your invitation back in Val Royeaux.
You must be mistaken. I haven't been to Val Royeaux since before the Conclave.
If it wasn't you who invited me here, who was it?
I don't know. Now that you say it, I feel strange. Whoever or whatever brought you here, the situation has changed. The Free Mages have already pledged themselves to the service of the Tevinter Imperium.
An alliance with Tevinter? Do you not fear all of Thedas turning against you?
Andraste's ass. I'm trying to think of a single worse thing you could have done, and I've got nothing.
I understand that you are afraid, but you deserve better than slavery to Tevinter.
As one indenture to a Magister, I no longer have the authority to negotiate with you.
Very well. Who's in charge now?
Welcome, my friends. I apologize for not greeting you earlier.
Agents of the Inquisition, allow me to introduce Magister Girion Alexius.
The Southern Mages are under my command. And you are the survivor, yes? The one from the Fade? Interesting.
I'd like to know more about this alliance between the rebel mages and the Imperium.
Certainly. What specifically do you wish to know?
I haven't seen any sign of Redcliffe's Arl or his men.
The Arl of Redcliffe left the village.
Al-Tegan did not abandon his lands during the Blight, even when they were under siege.
There were tensions growing. I did not want an incident.
I'd like to know more about this alliance between the rebel mages and the Imperium.
Certainly. What specifically do you wish to know?
The Grand Enchanter told me she was indentured to a magister.
Our southern brethren have no legal status in the Imperium. As they were not born citizens of Tevinter, they must work for a period of 10 years before gaining full rights. As their protector, I shall oversee their work for the Imperium.
I'm not clear on when exactly you negotiated this arrangement with Fiona.
When the Conclave was destroyed, these poor souls faced the brutality of the Templars, who rushed to attack them. It could only be through divine providence that I arrived when I did.
It was certainly very timely.
What does the Imperium gain from taking rebel mages under its wing?
For the moment, the southern mages are a considerable expense. After they are properly trained, they will join our legion.
You said not all my people would be military. There are children, those not suited.
And one day I'm sure they will all be productive citizens of the Imperium when their debts are paid.
I'm here to get mages to close the breach.
Right, to business. I understand, of course. Felix, would you send for a scribe, please? Pardon my manners. My son Felix, friends. I am not surprised you're here. Containing the breach is not a feat that many could even attempt. There is no telling how many mages would be needed for such an endeavor. Ambitious indeed.
I'll take every mage you can give me.
There will have to be. Felix?
My lord, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
Are you all right?
I'm fine, Father.
Come, I'll get your powders. Please excuse me, friends. We will have to continue this another time. Fiona, I require your assistance back at the castle.
I don't mean to trouble everyone.
I shall send word to the Inquisition. We will conclude this business at a later date.
Come to the Chantry. You are in danger.
Good. You're finally here. Now help me close this, would you? Fascinating. How does that work exactly? You don't even know, do you? You just wiggle your fingers and boom. Rift closes.
Who are you?
Ah, getting ahead of myself again, I see. Dorian of House Pavus, most recently of Minrathous. How do you do?
Another Tevinter. Be cautious with this one.
Suspicious friends you have here. Magister Alexius was once my mentor, so my assistance should be valuable, as I'm sure you can imagine.
I was expecting Felix to be here.
I'm sure he's on his way. He was to give you the note, then meet us here after ditching his father.
Alexius couldn't jump to Felix's side fast enough when he pretended to be faint. Is something wrong with him?
He's had some lingering illness for months. Felix is an only child, and Alexius is being a mother hen, most likely.
Are you a magister?
All right, let's say this once. I'm a mage from Tevinter, but not a member of the Magisterium. I know Southerners use the terms interchangeably, but that only makes you sound like barbarians.
You're betraying your mentor because...
Alexius was my mentor. Meaning he's not any longer, not for some time. Look, you must know there's danger. That should be obvious even without the note. Let's start with Alexius claiming the allegiance of the mage rebels out from under you. As if by magic, yes? Which is exactly right. To reach Redcliffe, before the Inquisition, Alexius distorted time itself.
I hope that's less dangerous than it sounds.
More.
That is fascinating if true, and almost certainly dangerous.
The rift you closed here. You saw how it twisted time around itself, sped some things up and slowed others down. Soon, there will be more like it, and they'll appear further and further away from Redcliffe. The magic Alexius is using is wildly unstable, and it's unraveling the world.
You're asking me to take a lot on faith.
I know what I'm talking about. I helped develop this magic. When I was still his apprentice, it was pure theory. Alexius could never get it to work. What I don't understand is why he's doing it, ripping time to shreds just to gain a few hundred lackeys.
He didn't do it for them.
Took you long enough. Is he getting suspicious?
No, but I shouldn't have played the illness card. I thought he'd be fussing over me all day. My father's joined a cult, Tevinter Supremacists. They call themselves Venatori. And I can tell you one thing. Whatever he's done for them, he's done it to get to you.
Alexius is your father. Why are you working against him?
For the same reason Dorian works against him. I love my father, and I love my country. But this? Cults? Time magic? What he's doing now is madness. For his own sake, you have to stop him.
It would also be nice if he didn't rip a hole in time. There's already a hole in the sky.
Why would he rearrange time and indenture the Mage Rebellion just to get to me?
They're obsessed with you, but I don't know why. Perhaps because you survived the Temple of Sacred Ashes.
You can close the rifts. Maybe there's a connection. Or they see you as a threat.
If the Venatori are behind those rifts or the breach in the sky, they're even worse than I thought.
All this for me? And I didn't get Alexius anything.
Send him a fruit basket. Everyone loves those. You know you're his target. Expecting the trap is the first step in turning it to your advantage. I can't stay in Redcliffe. Alexius doesn't know I'm here, and I want to keep it that way for now. But whenever you're ready to deal with him, I want to be there. I'll be in touch. Oh, and Felix, try not to get yourself killed.
There are worse things than dying, Dorian.
Do we believe that both Alexius's son and apprentice are turning on him? It seems someone wants to trap us either way.
Judging by the rifts here, I think Dorian was telling us the truth, weird as that is.
We don't have the manpower to take the castle. Either we find another way in, or give up this nonsense and go and get the Templars.
Redcliffe is in the hands of a Magister. This cannot be allowed to stand.
The letter from Alexius asked for the Herald of Andraste by name. It's an obvious trap.
So we've heard from Magister Alexius. I expected as much.
And yet some of us want to sit and do nothing.
Not this again.
Redcliffe Castle is one of the most defensible fortresses in Ferelden. It has repelled thousands of assaults. If you go in there, you'll die. And we'll lose the only means we have of closing these rifts. I won't allow it.
And if we don't even try to meet Alexius, we lose the mages and leave a hostile foreign power on our doorstep.
Even if we could assault the keep, it would be for naught. An Orlesian Inquisition's army marching into Ferelden would provoke a war. Our hands are tied.
The Magister
has outplayed us.
The Magister's son, Felix, told me Alexius is in a cult that's obsessed with me. I doubt they'll graciously receive our apologies and go about their business.
They will remain a threat, and a powerful one, unless we act.
We cannot accept defeat now. There must be a solution.
Where is the Earl of Redcliffe? I'm sure he'd help us get his castle back.
After he was displaced, Arl Tegan rode straight for Dunrim to petition the crown for help. I doubt he'll want our assistance once the Ferelden army lays siege to his castle.
Wait. There is a secret passage into the castle, an escape route for the family. It's too narrow for our troops, but we could send agents through.
Too risky. Those agents will be discovered well before they reach the Magister.
That's why we need a distraction. Perhaps the envoy Alexius wants so badly.
Focus their attention on Trevelyan, while we take out the Tevinters. It's risky, but it could work.
Fortunately, you'll have help.
This man says he has information about the Magister and his methods, Commander.
Your spies will never get past Alexius's magic without my help. So if you're going after him, I'm coming along.
The plan puts you in the most danger. We can't in good conscience order you to do this. We can still go after the Templars if you'd rather not play the bait. It's up to you.
Announce us.
The Magister's invitation was for Master Trevelyan alone. The others must wait here.
If my friends can't enter, then I won't go in either.
My Lord Magister, the agents of the Inquisition have arrived.
My friend, it's so good to see you again. And your associates, of course. I'm sure we can work out some arrangement that is equitable to all parties.
Are we mages to have no voice in deciding our fate?
Fiona, you would not have turned your followers over to my care if you did not trust me with their lives.
If the Grand Enchanter wants to be part of these talks, then I welcome her as a guest of the Inquisition.
Thank you.
The Inquisition needs mages to close the breach, and I have them. So, what shall you offer in exchange?
Actually, I hoped you could tell me about these Venatori I'm hearing so much about.
Now, where could you have heard that name?
I told him.
Felix, what have you done?
You wanted me here. Why?
Do you know what you are? You walk into my stronghold with your stolen mark, a gift you don't even understand, and think you're in control. You're nothing but a mistake.
If you know so much, enlighten me. Tell me what this mark on my hand is for.
It belongs to your betters. You wouldn't even begin to understand its purpose.
Father, listen to yourself. Do you know what you sound like?
He sounds exactly like the sort of villainous cliché everyone expects us to be.
Dorian, I gave you a chance to be a part of this. You turned me down. The Elder One has power you would not believe. He will raise the Imperium from its own ashes.
That's who you serve. The one who killed the Divine. Is he a mage?
Soon, he will become a god. He will make the world bow to mages once more. We will rule from the Boric Ocean to the frozen seas.
You can't involve my people in this.
Alexius, this is exactly what you and I talked about never wanting to happen. Why would you support this?
Stop it, Father. Give up the Venatori. Let the Southern Mages fight the breach, and let's go home.
No, it's the only way, Felix. He can save you.
Save me?
There is a way. The Elder One promised, if I undo the mistake at the temple.
I'm going to die. You need to accept that.
Seize them, Venatori. The Elder One demands this man's life.
Your men are dead, Alexius.
You are a mistake. You should never have existed. No!
Blood of the Elder One. Where'd they come from?
Placement. Interesting. It's probably not what Alexius intended. The rift must have moved us to what? The closest confluence of arcane energy?
The last thing I remember, we were in the castle hall.
Let's see. If we're still in the castle, it isn't. Oh, of course, it's not simply where, it's when. Alexius used the amulet as a focus. It moved us through time.
Did we go forward in time or back? And how far?
Those are excellent questions. We'll have to find out, won't we? Let's look around, see where the rift took us. Then we can figure out how to get back. If we can.
What was Alexius trying to do?
I believe his original plan was to remove you from time completely. If that happened, you would never have been at the Temple of Sacred Ashes or mangled his Elder One's plan. I think your surprise in the castle hall made him reckless. He tossed us into the rift before he was ready. I counted it. The magic went wild, and here we are. Make sense?
It just seems so insane.
I don't even want to think about what this will do to the fabric of the world. We didn't travel through time so much as punch a hole through it and toss it into the privy. But don't worry. I'm here. I'll protect you.
There were others in the hall. Could they have been drawn through the rift?
I doubt it was large enough to bring the whole room through. Alexius wouldn't risk catching himself or Felix in it. They're probably still where and when we left them. In some sense, anyway.
Alexius mentioned an Elder One in the hall. Do you know who he was talking about?
Leader of the Venatori, I suspect. Some magister aspiring to godhood. It's the same old tune. Let's play with magic we don't understand. It will make us incredibly powerful. Evidently, it doesn't matter if you rip apart the fabric of time in the process.
You have a plan to get us back, I hope?
I have some thoughts on that. They're lovely thoughts, like little jewels.
You've returned to us. Can it be? Has Andraste given us another chance? Mako, forgive me. I failed you. I failed everyone. The end must truly be upon us if the dead return to life.
I'm not back from the dead, Cassandra. I just got... Well, this is hard to explain.
I was there. The Magister obliterated you with a gesture.
Alexius sent us forward in time. If we find him, we may be able to return to the present.
Go back in time? Then, can you make it so that none of this ever took place?
That's my hope.
Alexius is master. After you died, we could not stop the Elder One from rising. Empress Celine was murdered. The army that swept in afterwards, it was a horde of demons. Nothing stopped them. Nothing.
We'll stop all that from happening. I promise.
Maker, guide us all.
You're alive. I saw you disappear into the rift.
Fiona, is that really you?
What's left of me?
Can you tell us the date? It's very important.
Harvest Mia. 942 Dragon.
942? Then we've missed an entire year.
We have to get out of here. Go back in time.
Please, stop this from happening. Alexius serves the Elder One, more powerful than the Maker. No one challenges him and lives.
That Magister's going to regret he didn't just kill me.
Our only hope is to find the amulet that Alexius used to send us here. If it still exists, I can use it to reopen the rift at the exact spot we left. Maybe.
Good.
I said, maybe. It might also turn us into paste.
You must try. Your spy master, Leliana. She is here. Find her. Quickly, before the Elder One learns you're here.
If red lyrium is an infection, Maker, why is it coming out of the walls?
Are you sure you want to find out?
Untrust these sacred knickers. You're alive. Where were you? How did you escape?
We didn't escape. Alexius sent us into the future.
Everything that happens to you is weird.
You might be right about that.
I'm always right. And when I'm not, I lie about it. So, what are you doing here? Or did you come back just to trade quips with me?
We get to Alexius, and I just might be able to send us back to our own time. Simple, really.
You and I have very different definitions of the word simple. You want to take on Alexius? I'm in. Let's go.
You will break.
I will die first. Or you will. You're alive.
We never died in the first place. Alexius miscalculated.
Then it will be his last mistake. Do you have weapons? Good. The Magister's probably in his chambers.
You aren't curious how we got here?
No.
Alexius sent us into the future. This, his victory, his Elder One, it was never meant to be.
I need to find Alexius and reverse the spell.
If we can get back to our present time, we can prevent this future from ever happening.
And mages always wonder why people fear them. No one should have this power.
It's dangerous and unpredictable. Before the breach, nothing we did.
Enough. This is all pretend to you. Some future you hope will never exist. I suffered. The whole world suffered. It was real.
What happened while we were away?
Stop talking.
I'm just asking for information.
No, you're talking to fill silence. Nothing happened that you want to hear.
We need to find Alexius. I'm sure he'll be in the nicer part of the castle, if there is one. This is madness. Alexius can't have wanted this.
The breach! It's
everywhere.
Used to be, it was only dwarves who were afraid of the sky. Now, it's just good sense.
I was worried I'd have to search the whole castle for you, Alexius.
There's no longer anywhere to run. I knew you would appear again. Not that it would be now, but I knew I hadn't destroyed you. My final failure.
Was it worth it? Everything you did to the world, to yourself.
It doesn't matter now. All we can do is wait for the end.
It does matter. I will undo this.
How many times have I tried? The past cannot be undone. All that I fought for, all that I betrayed, and what have I wrought? Ruin and death, there is nothing else. The Elder One comes for me, for you, for us all. Felix.
That's Felix. Maker's breath, Alexius, what have you done?
He would have died, Dorian. I saved him. Please, don't hurt my son. I'll do anything you ask.
You didn't save him, Alexius. No one should live like that.
No! No!
He wanted to die, didn't he? All those lies he told himself, the justifications. He lost Felix long ago. Didn't even notice. Oh, Alexius.
This Alexius was too far gone. But the Alexius in our time might still be reasoned with.
I suppose that's true. This is the same amulet he used before. I think it's the same one we made in Minrathous. That's a relief. Give me an hour to work out the spell he used, and I should be able to reopen the rift.
An hour? That's impossible! You must go now! The Elder One.
You have to hurry. This is bad. We'll hold the main door. Once they break through, it's all you, Nightingale.
No. I won't let you commit suicide.
Look at us. We're already dead. The only way we live is if this day never comes. Cast your spell. You have as much time as I have hours. Though darkness closes, I am shielded by flame. Andraste, guide me. Maker, take me to your side.
You move, and we all die! You'll have to do better than that.
You failed, Alexius. How forgiving is your Elder One?
You won. There is no point extending this charade. Felix.
It's going to be all right, Father.
You'll die.
Everyone dies.
Well, I'm glad that's over with. not.
Grand Enchanter, imagine how surprised I was to learn you'd given Redcliffe Castle away to a Tevinter Magister.
King Alistair.
Especially since I'm fairly sure Redcliffe belongs to Arl Tegan.
Your Majesty, we never intended...
I know what you intended. I wanted to help you. But you've made it impossible. You and your followers are no longer welcome in Ferelden.
But we have hundreds who need protection. Where will we go?
The Inquisition might be willing to take in the mages.
And what are the terms of this arrangement?
Hopefully better than what Alexius gave you. The Inquisition is better than that, yes?
I know you are a mage, but consider how these rebels have acted. They must be conscripted, not coddled.
I've known a lot of mages. They can be loyal friends if you let them. Friends who make bad decisions, but still loyal.
It seems we have little choice but to accept whatever you offer.
We would be honored to have you fight as allies at the Inquisition's side.
We'll discuss this later.
I'll pray that the rest of the Inquisition honors your promise then.
The breach threatens all of Thedas. We cannot afford to be divided now.
We can't fight it without you. Any chance of success requires your full support.
I'd take that offer if I were you. One way or another, you're leaving my kingdom.
We accept. It would be madness not to. I will gather my people and ready them for the journey to Haven. The breach will be closed. You will not regret giving us this chance.
It's not a matter for debate. There will be abominations among the mages, and we must be prepared.
If we rescind the offer of an alliance, it makes the Inquisition appear incompetent at best, tyrannical at worst.
What were you thinking, turning mages loose with no oversight? The veil is torn open.
We need them to close the breach. It's not going to work if we make enemies of them.
I know we need them for the breach, but they could do as much damage as the demons themselves. You were there, Seeker. Why didn't you intervene?
While I may not completely agree with the decision, I support it. The sole point of the Herald's mission was to gain the mage's aid, and that was accomplished.
The voice of pragmatism speaks. And here I was, just starting to enjoy the circular arguments.
Closing the breach is all that matters.
The longer the breach is open, the more damage it does. We should head there as soon as possible.
Agreed. We should look into the things you saw in this dark future. The assassination of Empress Celine. A demon army.
Sounds like something a Tevinter cult might do. Orlais falls, the Imperium rises. Chaos for everyone.
One battle at a time. It's going to take time to organize our troops and the mage recruits. Let's take this to the war room. Join us. None of this means anything without your mark, after all.
Thank you. I'd be honored to help with the plan.
Meet us there when you're ready.
I'll skip the War Council, but I would like to see this breach up close, if you don't mind.
Then you're staying?
Oh, didn't I mention? The South is so charming and rustic. I adore it to little pieces.
I must admit, I'm surprised.
We both saw what could happen, what this Elder One and his cult are trying to do. Not everything from Tevinter is terrible. Some of us have fought for eons against this sort of madness. It's my duty to stand with you. That future will not come to pass.
Stay if you must, but you'll be watched.
Watch away. I have nothing to hide, and evidently plenty to prove.
I'll begin preparations to march on the summit. Make a willing, the mages will be enough to grant us victory.
The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Halamsharal? Cows milking farmers?
Give me time. I'm sure I'll surprise you.
I suspect that's untrue. Unless you strip yourself naked and allow the Chantry to flog you into repentance. Now, that would surprise me. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to, well, be like mages back home.
If that means they're anything like you, I approve.
Ha! There aren't many mages back home like me.
I'd believe that.
I never fit in. Bloodstains are so difficult to clean, you see.
So we're doomed to a future of blood magic, then?
Not at first. But you'd be a fool not to see where this could lead. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed. By inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
I'm well aware of your finer qualities, believe me.
Of course I believe you. The moment I saw you, I thought, there's a man who knows quality. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Pavus, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
What do you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Pavus the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see.
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
It just seems so much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply. About everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters. I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. It's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion, too. Of course, what people call blood magic here and what we consider blood magic are two different things.
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. Most of them probably innocent.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a magister who makes noise. And then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah. That is true.
And? Did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
That's it! You don't question it!
In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
At least they're free. They don't have slavery forced on them.
You think people choose to be poor and oppressed? I doubt it. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
Strange? Why are you less qualified to rule than some tart with a fancy crown? Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
What is the magisterium exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of magi, the chantry, and the major families. All majors now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
If you're not a magister, then what are you called?
No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new Magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically. The potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine?
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers.
They don't use Lyria.
Ha! As if there'd be any left for them. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the Magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah, blah, blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
So the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
the big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
I share your opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
You don't seem like the religious sort, to be honest.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering hen tell you how to live, then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists, then yes, by all means. The world is bigger than I, even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe, but I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
I'm wondering if the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many Magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
It would be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what, 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
We're not part of the Chantry. The Chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew. Brilliant, isn't it? One moment you're trying to restore order in a world gone mad. That should be enough for anyone to handle, yes? Then, out of nowhere, an archdemon appears and kicks you in the head. What? You thought this would be easy? No, I was just hoping you wouldn't crush our village like an anthill. Sorry about that. Archdemons like to crush, you know. Can't be helped. Am I speaking too quickly for you?
I was distracted, that's all.
Distracted? By my wit and charm? I have plenty of both.
Today, at least.
Oh, you wound me. I always assumed the Elder One behind the Venatori was a Magister. But this is something else completely. In Tevinter, they say the Chantry's tales of Magisters starting the Blight are just that. Tales. But here we are. One of those very Magisters, a dark spawn.
Who does the Imperium say started the Blight?
You know how it is. Not us. They say dark spawn were always there. Magisters and the Blight aren't even related. Is that a surprise? No one wants to admit they shit the bed.
But if Corypheus is one of the magisters who entered the Black City and he's dark spawn, what other explanation is there?
Why does that make you angry?
Because the Imperium is my home. I knew what I was taught couldn't be the whole truth, but I assumed there had to be a kernel of it, somewhere. But no, it was us all along. We destroyed the world.
You didn't do anything. Those men did. 1,000 years ago.
True, except that one of them is up and walking around right now. Not to mention I have idiot countrymen who would happily follow him down that path again. No one will thank me, whatever happens. No one will thank you either. You know that, yes?
That's not why I'm doing this.
I knew there was something clever about you. All I know is this. Corypheus needs to be stopped. Men like him ruined my homeland. I won't stand by and let him ruin the world. Oh, and congratulations on that whole leading the Inquisition thing, by the way.
Of your time. My Lord Inquisitor, it's good of you to speak with me. I have news regarding one of your companions, the Tevinter.
Has Dorian done something wrong?
No, thankfully. It's nothing like that. I have been in contact with his family. House Pavus out of Carenas. Are you familiar with them?
He's mentioned his family. They don't appear to be on good terms.
Yes. I believe you're correct. The family sent a letter describing the estrangement from their son and pleading for my aid. They've asked to arrange a meeting quietly without telling him. They fear it's the only way he'll come. Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man, I'd hoped...
Just what kind of meeting do you have in mind?
I believe they just want to talk, to understand why Dorian felt he had to come here. Somewhere private, away from Skyhold, but not in Tevinter. You make them nervous, I think. They don't understand why he's here with the Inquisition. They want him to come home.
I'd be worried too if my son ran off to join some gauche foreigners on a crusade.
So would I. Although I suspect there's more to it than either of us understands.
Why would his family contact you?
Because they don't know you, Inquisitor. I am not of the Imperial Chantry, but they know what I represent. These are parents concerned about the welfare of their son. How could I not do whatever possible? I would speak to the young man myself, but he does not care for me. Thus I come to you. If any good can come of this, we must try.
They don't want Dorian to know. That seems odd.
They believe the young man would refuse, and the letter implies he'd have cause. Yet, they are remorseful for whatever came before. This is a chance for dialogue. There is deceit in bringing the young man to this meeting without his foreknowledge, I know. But does it not lead to a greater kindness if there is potential for reconciliation?
Are you sure this isn't some kind of trap? I mean, the secrecy.
That did occur to me. What if it is a plot of those mages, the Venatori? Another reason to put this in your hands, Inquisitor. I pray that isn't the case. But if it is, you are far better equipped than I to respond to such treachery.
If you think I'm going to trick Dorian into meeting his family...
I feared you might say that. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern, to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I pray you change your mind, Inquisitor. Perhaps their letter will persuade you. If there is any chance of success in this, it behooves us to act.
Anything interesting?
A letter regarding Felix, Alexius's son. He went to the magisterium, stood on the Senate floor and told them of you. A glowing testimonial, I'm informed. No news on the reaction, but everyone back home is talking. Felix always was as good as his word.
Was?
He's dead. The blight caught up with him.
Are you all right?
He was ill, and thus on borrowed time anyhow.
That doesn't mean you can't regret his death.
I know. Felix used to sneak me treats from the kitchens when I was working late in his father's study. Don't get into trouble on my behalf, I tell him. I like trouble, he'd say. Tevinter could use more mages like him. Those who put the good of others above themselves.
With the two of you...
Felix and I? What an odd question. No, I had no intention of abusing Alexius's hospitality by seducing his son. Not that I've been proper my whole life, by any means. It wasn't like that. Even in illness, Felix was the best of us. With him around, you knew things could be better.
You make it sound like he was a better person than you.
What a mad thing to say. Few people are better than I. Very well, a better person, clearly, not nearly as handsome. Thankfully, Felix wasn't the only decent sort kicking around Thedas. I could watch you roam Skyhold all day. Here and there you run, checking in on your followers. Why don't they come to you, feed you grapes, rub your shoulders? I suppose it's more fun this way. For me, I mean. You're rather strapping.
I've noticed you're rather strapping yourself.
Of course you have. That only takes eyes.
Luckily, I have those.
You do. A rather fetching pair. At any rate, you didn't pass by to hear me fawn. Something on your mind?
You said Alexius was a mentor of yours.
He was my patron, sponsoring me to the higher levels of the Circle of Magi. In return, my successes were his. I had a lot of successes, naturally. Alexius was most pleased. He and I used to talk over brandy about the corruption, how we could one day make real change in the Imperium. And then he gave up. He stopped trying.
Why did he give up?
On a journey to Hosburg, a Darkspawn raid killed his wife and sickened his son. I remember hearing the news. He hadn't been there, you see. Alexius was convinced he could have protected them. The guilt tore him up. I helped him with his research for a while, and then we drifted apart.
That must have been difficult.
Back then, I was furious. I told him to snap out of it, move on. I thought I had all the answers. Later, I regretted my hasty words. But we didn't speak again until he approached me for the Venatori. Too much pride, I suppose. Plus, I was busy drinking. One must have priorities.
I don't think that's it. You felt guilty because you couldn't help him.
Clever you. I had a choice, you see. Wallow in self-pity or get away while I could. At any rate, he's fallen so low, I doubt he'll ever get up. Sad, really.
Dorian, there's a letter you need to see.
letter? Is it a naughty letter? A humorous proposal from some Antivan dowager?
Not quite. It's from your father.
From my father? I see. And what does Magister Hallward want, pray tell?
A meeting.
Show me this letter. I know my son? What my father knows of me would barely fill a thimble. This is so typical. I'm willing to bet this retainer is a henchman, hired to knock me on the head and drag me back to Tevinter.
That would be hard to do while I stood there.
He expects me to travel with Mother Giselle, although Maker knows why he'd think I would. Let's go. Let's meet this so-called family retainer. If it's a trap, we escape and kill everyone. You're good at that. If it's not, I send the man back to my father with the message that he can stick his alarm in his wit's end.
There seems to be bad blood between you and your family.
Interesting turn of phrase. But you're correct. They don't care for my choices, nor I for theirs.
Because you wouldn't get married. Because you left.
That too.
Let's go meet this retainer then.
I wonder how much my father paid this man to wait around just in case I showed. We'll find out soon enough. Uh-oh, nobody's here. This doesn't bode well.
Dorian.
Father. So the whole story about the family retainer was just, what? A smokescreen?
Then you were told. I apologize for the deception, Inquisitor. I never intended for you to be involved.
Of course not. Magister Pavus couldn't come to Skyhold and be seen with the dread Inquisitor. What would people think? What is this exactly, Father? Ambush? Kidnapping? Warm family reunion?
This is how it has always been.
You went through all of this to get Dorian here. Talk to him.
Yes, Father. Talk to me. Let me hear how mystified you are by my anger.
Dorian, there's no need to.
I prefer the company of men. My father disapproves.
That's a big concern in Tevinter, then.
Only if you're trying to live up to an impossible standard. Every Tevinter family is intermarrying to distill the perfect mage, perfect body, perfect mind, the perfect leader. It means every perceived flaw, every aberration is deviant and shameful. It must be hidden.
Your father might be here to reach out. You could give him a chance.
Let's just go.
Dorian, please. If you'll only listen to me.
Why? So you can spout more convenient lies? He taught me to hate blood magic. The resort of the weak mind. Those are his words. But what was the first thing you did when your precious heir refused to play pretend for the rest of his life? You tried to change me.
I only wanted what was best for you.
You wanted the best for you. Your fucking legacy. Anything for that.
Don't leave it like this, Dorian. You'll never forgive yourself.
Tell me why you came.
If I knew, I would drive you to the Inquisition.
You didn't. I joined the Inquisition because it's the right thing to do. Once, I had a father who would have known that.
Once, I had a son who trusted me. A trust I betrayed. I only wanted to talk to him, to hear his voice again, to ask him to forgive me.
He says we're alike. Too much pride. Once I would have been overjoyed to hear him say that. Now I'm not certain. I don't know if I can forgive him.
He tried to change you.
Out of desperation. I wouldn't put on a show, marry the girl, keep everything unsavory, private and locked away. Selfish, I suppose, not to want to spend my entire life screaming on the inside. He was going to do a blood ritual, alter my mind, make me acceptable. I found out. I left.
Can blood magic actually do that?
Maybe. It could also have left me a drooling vegetable. It crushed me to think he found that absurd risk preferable to scandal. Part of me has always hoped he didn't really want to go through with it. If he had. I can't even imagine the person I would be now. I wouldn't like that, Dorian.
Are you all right?
No, not really. Thank you for bringing me out there. It wasn't what I expected, but it's something. Maker knows what you must think of me now, after that whole display.
I think you're very brave.
Brave?
It's not easy to abandon tradition and walk your own path.
At any rate, time to drink myself into a stupor. It's been that sort of day. Join me sometime, if you've a mind.
You recall Gerion Alexius of Tevinter. Ferelden has given him to us as an acknowledgement of your aid. The formal charges are apostasy, attempted enslavement, and attempted assassination, on your own life, no less. Tevinter has disowned and stripped him of his rank. You may judge the former magister as you see fit.
Remind me, what's the precedent for nearly ripping apart time at the seams?
I couldn't save my son. Do you think my fate matters to me?
Will you offer nothing more in your defense?
You've won nothing. The people you saved, the acclaim you've gathered. You'll lose it all in the storm to come. Render your judgment, Inquisitor.
You swore to the mages you'd help them. I will have you uphold that promise. Fiona will take charge of you. Any knowledge, favor, or coin you own will go towards the mage's future.
A headsman would have been kinder.
I ran into Fiona. Seems you have Alexius serving the mages. There's some justice in that after what he did to them. Maybe one day he'll realize it.
Oh,
What's going on here?
It seems the revered mother is concerned about my undue influence over you.
It is just concern. Your worship, you must know how this looks.
You might need to spell it out, my dear.
This man is of Tevinter. His presence at your side, the rumors alone.
What's wrong with him being from Tevinter, specifically?
I'm fully aware that not everyone from the Imperium is the same.
How kind of you to notice. Yet still you bow to the opinion of the masses.
The opinion of the masses is based on centuries of evidence. What would you have me tell them?
The truth?
The truth is I do not know you, and neither do they. Thus, these rumors will continue.
Oh? I'd like to hear what these rumors are exactly.
I could not repeat them, your worship.
Repeat them? So you've shared them before?
See, I meant no disrespect, Inquisitor. Only to ask after this man's intentions. If you feel he is without ulterior motive, then I humbly beg forgiveness of you both.
Well, that's something.
She didn't get to you, did she?
No. It takes more to get to me than thinly veiled accusations.
You don't think she'll do anything?
Do what? Yours is the good opinion I care about, not hers. I don't know if you're aware, but the assumption in some corners is that you and I are intimate.
That's not the worst assumption they could have, is it?
I don't know. Is it?
Do you always answer a question with a question?
Would you like me to answer in some other fashion?
If you're capable.
If you're capable. The nonsense you speak.
You realize this makes the rumors somewhat true?
Evidently. We might have to explore the full truth of them later, in private. It occurs to me that you're a mage.
That just occurred to you.
I meant, you must have been part of the circle of magi in the south. Meaning, you were locked away like a criminal, at least until you rebelled. It's such a bizarre notion to me.
There are worse things than being kept in the circles.
Death, starvation, being hunted by rabid mobs? Yes, I can imagine. Some would say Tevinter is hardly better, depending on which mage you ask. Still, it's so utterly foreign. It's more surprising that everyone would take the idea of a mage inquisitor so calmly. Maybe it's not calm. Maybe the Antivan crows are swimming in gold from all the contracts on your life. Good luck with that, by the way. Grand fun being the one in charge.
I'd like to talk to you about something.
How ominous. Has my father finally come up with a decent offer to buy me from you?
No, it's nothing like that.
I wouldn't blame you. My father's a very wealthy man.
I meant I wanted to talk about us.
I see. What's the latest news on the us front, then?
I was hoping to get to know you better.
You and I. People will talk.
Let them.
All right. We'll see how this goes. Don't say I didn't warn you. I do love how you're always on the go. It's tiring to watch you.
I need to talk to you.
Just talk? Such a pity.
Let's do something interesting.
More interesting than wandering the countryside killing random strangers? Perish the thought. But we could find Cassandra and pretend we're talking about her. It would drive her mad.
I found this manuscript on dragons in an ancient Tevinter laboratory. Will it help you?
What remarkable diagrams. Are these chambers of the draconic heart? Oh, if only I could read the script. Do you perhaps know a linguist? Or a Tevinter historian?
Don't look at me. Nobody's spoken that form of Tevin in 700 years.
I don't, but the Inquisition might. I'll speak to our specialists.
Oh, look! A dragon! What a perfect way to ruin our day. That's a lot of people. Do the southern masses even know how to read?
Oh, you're such an elitist.
Yes. I left my homeland, Varric. I didn't up and turn peasant. For the last time, not everyone in the Imperium is a magister.
But they do pretty much hand out seats like they're candy.
Yes, but it's that black licorice candy with salt on it, not the good kind.
Inquisition so far.
It's interesting, I'll give you that. An archdemon attacking me as a first.
5 Royals says you'll see something weirder before the day ends.
I don't think I should take that bet.
Wait, are you blushing?
What would I have to blush about?
You tell me.
It's of no interest to you, I'm certain. It's a book.
I can see that.
It's one of Varric's tales. Swords and Shields, the latest chapter.
So you like to read? What's wrong with that?
It's frivolous. There are more important things for me to do.
That's just her favorite.
Nobody asked you, Tevinter.
I couldn't finish the last one you lent me. I actually feel dumber for having tried.
Gloat all you like. I have this one.
Are you sassing me, Commander? I didn't know you had it in you.
Why do I even... Inquisitor.
Leaving, are you? Does this mean I win?
Are you two playing nice?
I'm always nice. You need to come to terms with my inevitable victory. You'll feel much better.
Really? Because I just won, and I feel fine.
Don't get smug. There will be no living with you.
I should return to my duties as well, unless you would care for a game.
Could I adore you more? Probably not.
I need to talk to you.
Just talk? Such a pity.
I was hoping to steal a moment alone with you.
I need to talk to you, he says. Have it your way. But let's go where 100 onlookers won't think I'm stealing the Inquisitor's soul. You seem very interested in my opinions.
I've been told something about an amulet.
How did you hear that? Oh, Liliana. Of course she would find out. Don't make an issue of it. I don't want someone solving my personal problems for me. I'll get the amulet back. Somehow. On my own.
I'm not entirely certain what it is.
The Pavus birthright. The flashy thing you show peons to make them tremble at your impressive lineage. I didn't leave Tevinter with much in the way of coin, so I sold it. Entirely forbidden, of course, and foolish, but I was desperate. I'll figure something out.
You don't even like your family. Why would you want it back?
Because it's mine, and it shouldn't be passed around like candy.
That's the only reason.
It's reason enough. Leave it be.
There are plenty of ways to skin a nug, Dorian. We'll think of something.
And I will. I'll get it back. I lost the amulet. I may not have your resources, but I can't ask you to... You have too many people asking you for everything under the sun. I won't be one of them.
Inquisitor. Good, good. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
What? Is that why we're here? I said I wanted to do this myself. I don't want to be indebted to anyone, least of all you.
I apologize, but that won't be possible. Do forgive me, Inquisitor. But when I heard of your association with Monsieur Pavus, I could not resist. It's not coin I seek for the amulet, but influence. Influence you possess, but which the young man does not. Provided, of course, you desire the amulet for your friend.
Aren't you a merchant? Why not just sell it back?
I am not a fence, monsieur. I only bought your friend's amulet because of what it is. I do business in the Imperium. Having a birthright, even one not your own, is most useful in select situations.
Huh. He's got the right of it there.
That's why I gave the young man so much. If he relinquished it, how is that my doing?
You want something from me. What would you like?
The Ligue de Celestine is an organization of wealthy noblemen in Orlais. I would join, but I lack the lineage. If someone like you applied pressure, they would admit me. That would be worth the return of the amulet.
What do you think, Dorian?
Leave the man be. I got myself into this. I should get myself out of it.
Perhaps you should accept your friend's help, monsieur.
Kafas, I know what you think, and he's not my friend. He's... Never mind what he is.
As you desire. Even so, that is a price. I shall accept no other.
Very well. I'll do as you ask.
What? You're going to give in to this cretin?
Do you want your amulet back?
Yes, I do. I simply...
Much obliged, your worship. The moment I receive an invitation from the League, I'll have the amulet delivered. It's been an honor doing business with you.
Influence mongering. I don't want to be in your debt. I don't want to be in anyone's debt.
You don't think...
I don't want to discuss it. Always a sight for sore eyes.
I have something for you. Here it is.
Now I'm indebted to you. I never wanted this, I told you.
I didn't do this so you would be indebted to me, Dorian. I did it for you.
That's the problem.
How is that a problem?
Someone intelligent would cozy up to the Inquisitor if they could. It'd be foolish not to. He can open doors, get you whatever you want, shower you with gifts and power. That's what they'll say. I'm the Magister who's using you.
Is that all? Go ahead and use me, Dorian. Or are you all talk?
Oh, you are glorious. I was an ass earlier at the merchants. It's my specialty. I apologize and thank you. I'm going to stop before I say something syrupy, but I won't forget this, and I will repay you. Count on it. So, it's all very nice, this flirting business. I am, however, not a nice man. So, here is my proposal. We dispense with the chit-chat and move on to something more primal. It'll set tongues wagging, of course. Not that they aren't already wagging. I suppose it really depends. How bad does the Inquisitor want to be?
I thought you'd never ask.
I like playing hard to get.
And now?
I'm gotten. I like your quarters.
Do you now?
Don't misunderstand. I'm not suggesting we venture into mutual domesticity. I just like your appointments.
Ah.
Not that I couldn't suggest some changes. Your taste is a little austere.
If you want to change things around.
No, that's not what I want. I'm curious where this goes, you and I. We've had fun, perfectly reasonable to leave it here, get on with the business of killing archdemons and such.
Tell me what you want.
All on me, then.
Should it be all on me?
I like you. More than I should. More than might be wise. We end it here, I walk away. I won't be pleased, but I'd rather now than later. Later might be dangerous.
Why dangerous?
Walking away might be harder then.
I want more than just fun, Dorian. Speechless, I see.
I was expecting something different. Where I come from, anything between two men, it's about pleasure. It's accepted, but taken no further. You learn not to hope for more. You'd be foolish to.
So let's be foolish.
Hard habit to break.
I'm good at breaking things.
Hopefully not everything. Care to, inquisit me again? I'll be more specific in my directions this time. Show off.
I have to admit, it does feel good to have my amulet back. I'm not above a bit of attachment, apparently. Bloody thing.
I need to talk to you.
Oh. I am, as you say down south, all ears.
I thought we could discuss what happens after.
Ah, yes. After. Dreadful thing, after. Let's see. Assuming one or both of us aren't slaughtered along the way, what do you wish to happen? We could go our separate ways if you prefer. I've been a port in a storm before. I would understand.
Of course not. I want us to be together as long as we can.
You're very sentimental for someone who's killed as many people as you have.
You bring it out in me.
Sweet maker. Next you'll be making calf eyes at puppies. I don't know what the future holds. For us or anything. That's my honest answer. Once Corypheus is defeated, when this is over, I'd like to talk about it more. If you would. This is all so familiar. I half expect my mother to materialize from the crowd and criticize my manners.
Is this how the elite of Tevinter carry on?
You could almost mistake this for a soiree in the Imperium. The same double-dealing, elegant poison canapes. It's lacking only a few sacrificial slaves and some blood magic. But the night is still young.
What if your mother were actually here? Where would we be then?
Short one mage after he's dragged out by his earlobe.
I'm having difficulty picturing that.
Picture me a young boy of 5 years then. She certainly always has.
Have you seen anything I should know about?
So far, this seems like harmless political intrigue. A few murders arranged. Some scandals contrived from nothing. Like a homecoming, honestly.
I appreciate that you were willing to come here.
And expose myself to all this exquisite finery and exotic wines? Such hardship.
Not everyone's likely to be friendly. That's all I meant.
It's true. You'd think I smelled of cabbages the way they wrinkle their noses. It's of no concern, but thank you. I'll be ready for your signal. Provided this spicy punch isn't as strong as it seems.
Don't wear yourself out mingling. I expect a dance before this is over.
Dancing with the evil Magister, in full view of every noble in Orlais. How shocking.
They'll live.
You say that now. If you can find me 10 silk scarves, I've got a dance that will really shock them.
More politics and double-dealing. Is there anyone here who is not corrupt?
There's so much conniving and backstabbing here. Makes me homesick.
takes great courage to come to the royal wing unarmed.
It's not courage to blindly follow Briala's orders into a trap. I knew her. Before. When she was Celine's pet. Now she wants to play revolution, but I remember. She was sleeping with the Empress who purged our alienage.
She probably did send you to your death.
If the Inquisition will protect me, I'll tell you everything I know about our ambassador.
Most Orlesians would say that's Celine's scandal, not Briala's.
Go to the ballroom. Find Commander Cullen. He'll keep you safe.
Thank you. Make her protect you, Inquisitor.
What happened?
It's not what it looks like. Honestly, I would have preferred it if it were what it looks like. The Empress led me to believe I would be rewarded for betraying the Grand Duke. This was not what I hoped for.
You're telling me that Empress Celine left you naked and trussed like a roast duck?
Please, I beg you, don't tell Gaspard. The Empress beguiled me into giving her information about plans for troop movements in the palace tonight. She knows everything. Everything. The Duke's surprise attack has been countered before it ever began. She's turned it into a trap. The moment he strikes, she'll have him arrested for treason.
I don't know which is worse. Celine for using such a tactic or him for falling for it.
Oh, Orlesians.
Welcome to the Inquisition, Morrigan.
A most gracious response. I shall meet you at Skyhold.
There was an ancient dowager looking for you. Said she had 12 daughters. I told her you'd left already. You can thank me later or now. But you look lost in thought. Something on your mind?
I'm just worn out. Tonight has been very long.
You won. You saved the day. Literally, the day is saved. You should be celebrating. Enjoy yourself while you can. What you need is a distraction. I have just the thing. Let's dance.
I was hoping you'd ask.
Thank goodness one of us has a little initiative. Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
That's something you'd like to do more often, then?
Watch as you twist an entire empire around your little finger. Yes, please. Of course, that leaves only Tevinter. And it wouldn't work as well there.
No? Why not?
Our dances are so much more intense. If an evening lacks a murder, we sniff and call it a ball. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
Planning on settling that 50-crown debt anytime soon, Sparkler?
And if I don't? Do you have tiny enforcers come strip me of my holdings?
No, I don't know. I suppose I could always send a letter to your family.
The dwarf plays dirty. All right, you win. This time. Incidentally, Cassandra, I'm well aware you lied to me.
I lied to you.
When you said the Mage Rebellion was beyond the power of the Seekers to control. I've since heard your order could have prevented it, but instead led the Templars into war once it started.
It is why I left the order, yes.
Knee-jerk defense of your former comrades. I quite understand.
I look forward to working together.
Hopefully this will help both our peoples. Tevinter is dangerous enough without the influence of this Venatori cult.
Yes. Filthy, decadent brutes, the lot of them.
I'm certain life would be much better for all of us under the Kyun.
It was for me. After the Canary rescued me from slavery in Tevinter, I was 8. The Kyun isn't perfect, but it gave me a better life.
Yes, one free from all that pointless free will and independent thought. Such an improvement.
Arguing about the war between your two nations isn't going to help anyone right now.
I'm not here to convert anyone. All I care about is stopping this red lyrium from reaching Minrathos.
The villagers may not even object. Finally, this place is presentable. What now?
We should drain the lake. The mayor said the dam controls were through the fort. There's dwarven ruins down here.
The whole area is still lit up. Remarkable. That should stop the undead hordes from attacking Crestwood.
Let's tell the mayor. A letter of confession from the mayor. It says he was the one who flooded old Crestwood 10 years ago. To stop the blight from spreading.
I knew he was nervous about more than the undead.
It's monstrous, but if it stopped the blight from wiping out the entire village.
What a sad mess. Will the Inquisition bring him in? We can win.
You aren't asking me to give odds on our beloved Inquisitor's success.
What would that look like? 3 to 1?
In his favor?
After Corypheus pulled an archdemon out of his arse, are you joking?
I'll take those odds.
This is why I adore him so.
Where are we? We were falling. Is this... Are we dead?
No. The Inquisitor used the mark to open another rift. We fell through. I believe we're in the Fade.
The Fade looked much different the last time I was here.
The first time I entered the Fade, it looked like a lovely castle filled with gold and silks. I met a marvelous desire demon, as I recall. We chatted and ate grapes before he attempted to possess me. Perhaps the difference is that we are here physically. This is no one's dream.
The stories say you walked out of the Fade at Haven. Was it like this?
I don't know. I still can't remember what happened the last time I did this.
Well, whatever happened at Haven, we can't assume we're safe now. That huge demon was right on the other side of that rift Eramond was using. And there could be others.
In our world, the rift the demons came through was nearby, in the main hall. Can we escape the same way?
It beats waiting around for demons to find us, right? There, let's go.
Perhaps I should be afraid, facing the most powerful members of the Inquisition. Greetings, Dorian. It is Dorian, isn't it? For a moment I mistook you for your father.
Rather uncalled for. Here's I would wager, scavenging whatever the nightmare leaves behind.
And they take the form of spiders. Something so many fear.
Spiders? I see maggots crawling in filth.
Of course. The demons look different to each of us. Personalized little terrors.
Wonderful.
The only thing that's important right now is getting out of the Fade. Whatever you are, you've helped us so far.
What we do know is that the mortal divine perished at the temple, thanks to the Grey Wardens.
As I said, the Grey Wardens responsible for that crime were under the control of Corypheus. We can discuss this further once we return to Adamant.
Yes, Adamant, where the Inquisition faces an army of demons raised by the Wardens.
How dare you judge us? You tore Kirkwall apart and started the Mage Rebellion.
To protect innocent mages, not madmen drunk on blood magic. Even without the influence of Corypheus, the Wardens go too far. They need to be checked.
The Wardens are a risk. Send them away before they cause even more trouble.
They might still be useful. What if Corypheus conjures another blight? You never know.
I don't know what to tell you. There are a few good ones, but an awful lot of the Wardens I've known went crazy.
Sweet Maker, could both of you please shut up? We can argue once we've escaped from the giant fear demon.
Inquisitor!
The nightmare has found us.
Form up! I'm with
You have remarkably little here on early Tevinter history. All these gifts to the Inquisition, and the best they can do is the Malefica Imperio. Trite propaganda. But if you want 20 volumes on whether Divine Galatea took a shit on Sunday, this is evidently the place to find it.
That's the Dorian I know, critiquing every book in my library.
I wouldn't have to if you could find some rebellious heretic archivist to join the cause.
Are there rebellious archivists? Other than you, that is.
If Corypheus ever starts burning masterworks of literature, I'm sure a few will pop up. Did I see something by Genitivi here? I could have sworn.
What is this about, Dorian?
When we fell into the chasm, into the Fade, I thought you were done for. I don't know if I can forgive you for that moment.
I'm sorry you had to go through it with me.
I'm not sorry I was there with you. I thought I'd lost you. You sent me ahead and then didn't follow. For just a moment, I was certain you wouldn't. I thought, this is it. This is where I finally lose him forever. Are you all right?
I learned a surprising amount. What happened at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, for one?
Regained your memories. That's good, then.
I think so.
You do realize this feat hasn't been performed in over 1,000 years. Corypheus and his contemporaries entered the Fade and began the Blights. In comparison.
At least you were at my side.
No offense, but I'd almost rather I hadn't been.
No sense of adventure? That's surprising.
I've not your talent for survival. And not everyone is as discerning as I. If you can walk in the Fade, others will try to follow. Who knows what secrets Corypheus has revealed? Not all of them will be as lucky as you. What they could unleash. My advice? Keep this quiet. Let them speculate. Too many will see this as a challenge.
You don't number among them?
It's tempting, but I am no fool. There are enough idiots in the world who think if they just use enough blood magic, their problems will vanish. It's exactly the sort of thing I want to stop back home. This I don't need. What I do need is a copy of the Liberalum. I'll wager I can find Corypheus's real name. If I can prove he was a grasping ankle-biter with no family to speak of, the luster would come right off. Wish me luck.
Are you all right?
Whatever it was, I feel fine.
I'll take your word for it.
It went straight to you. Or to the mark, perhaps. Doesn't seem to have harmed you.
If it wasn't a trap, what was it?
If the enchantment at the entry was a test, this may be the reward.
This must have been Maddox's room.
The fire couldn't destroy these entirely, whatever they are.
Those are lyrium forging implements of remarkable design. Intact, they'd be worth a fortune.
Tranquil often design their own tools. Dagna should be able to make sense of them. Maddox used these to make Samson's armor. She could use them to unmake it. We have him.
Listen to how close the fighting's gotten. It will be worse ahead.
One last push and we can lick our wounds. I wonder if Corypheus will show.
I hope you're right about this temple, Morrigan. I could use a building or two.
Do the woods discomfort you, Pavus?
It's mostly the people trying to cut our heads off that manage that.
Come on, we might catch them.
Hold a moment. While they rush ahead, this leads to our true destination. We should walk the petitioner's path as before.
An army fights and dies for us. The longer we tarry, the more soldiers we lose outside. Let's jump down and be done with this place.
Just a thought. Maybe rushing through this place like a mad bull isn't the best plan.
You see the urgency. We cannot find the Well of Sorrows unprepared.
So you're elves from ancient times? Before the Tevinter Imperium destroyed Arlathan?
The Shemlin did not destroy Arlathan. We Elven warred upon ourselves. By the time the doors to this sanctuary closed, our time was over.
Wait, that's not right. What are you saying?
You would not know truth. Shemlin history is as short as the pool of your years.
What did the Imperium do then? Are you saying it wasn't a war?
The war of carrion feasting upon a corpse, yes. We awaken only when called, and each time find the world more foreign than before. It is meaningless. We endure. The Vira Belasan must be preserved.
He said the elves destroyed themselves before my countrymen came along. Could that be true? I can hardly believe it.
They left someone behind. A handy guide, maybe?
Mitholan asked.
That's helpful, since Morrigan chased off on her own.
She's worried about this well, not Corypheus.
Well of Sorrows.
Andraste, guide us.
How has such magic lasted?
Are you leaving the temple?
Our duty ends. Why remain?
The Imperium went to great lengths to expunge Elven history. You might be the last to know the truth.
Would the elves of your lands listen to the truth?
They might. Would it hurt to try?
It very well may, Shemlin. Yes. It may be that only Uthenera awaits us. The blissful sleep of eternity, never to awaken.
Can you honestly tell me there is anyone better suited?
I would be.
You lead the Inquisition. This is not a risk you can take. I have the best chance of making use of the well for everyone. Let me drink.
Thoughts?
I don't want to risk losing you to a well.
Enough deliberation. Give me your decision.
What happened at the Elven Temple? It's got me thinking. I should go back, shouldn't I? To Tevinter. Once this is done. If we're still alive. All my talk of how terribly wrong things are back home. But what do I do about it? Nothing.
How does this relate to the Elven Temple?
That elf, Abelas. He said the Imperium wasn't what destroyed the elves. My people would never accept that. It would reduce us to scavengers, destroy our legacy no matter how terrible. But we should accept it. Take our history down a peg. Confront the legacy hanging over us like a shroud. Maybe not all of us want to, but that could be altered. If you can change minds, so can I.
You would just leave? What about
us? Trust me, Amatus. It would give me no pleasure to leave your side. You make monumental decisions affecting the entire world. How can I not consider some of my own?
But I need you at my side. Now more than ever.
Emotional blackmail is a fine thing to pull out of your arsenal.
But I didn't...
I'm joking. I'll think about it. Closely. This is your fault, remember? You inspired me with your marvelous antics. You're shaping the world, for good or ill. How could I aspire to do any less? If it means proving that Tevinter can be better, that there's hope even for my homeland, I would do anything.
Not like this. I have walked the halls of the Golden City, crossed the ages. Do not, ancient ones, I beseech you. If you exist, if you ever truly existed, aid me now.
Into the fade.
Inquisitor, are you alive?
Victorious, I see. What a novel result.
And you're alive. And I'm alive. Incredible, isn't it?
And it seems the breach is finally closed.
Looks that way.
What do we do now?
We go back to Skyhold.
Through the hall this morning, and a serving girl saw me and squealed. Actually squealed, dropped her laundry and everything. Such a mess. She was completely breathless.
You were at the battle with the evil one, weren't you?
I didn't even get a chance to answer. She hugged me. Hugged me. This is your influence.
Admit it, you're having a ball.
I don't trust camaraderie. All these people smiling, buying me drinks. It's unnatural. Mind you,
I can't say I hate the notion of being the good Tevinter. I suppose you can't all be evil bastards. The blacksmith said that, and he spat when we first met. I hope my father hears. He will shit his small clothes from shock, I swear.
I'm happy you're here, after all that's happened.
I fully expected to die. It would have been thematically appropriate. And you could have been a martyr. Oh, the songs they would have composed.
There will still be songs.
Yes, but they won't have the same gravitas. We'll just have to be satisfied with being alive. And together. I've decided to stay with the Inquisition. For now.
You will?
There's no you in Tevinter. What else matters? Going somewhere, Amatus? You didn't think one brief chat would be enough, did you?
You do know we have all the time in the world now.
You say that, but I'm not waiting until the sky splits open again. See? Much better. Yes, I'm sure you have all the things to say. 2 things in private before you run off. First, you are terribly dull and I hate you.
What's the second?
I hope this ends soon.
All is on your side, Lord Pavus. The Inquisition's support is not a thing to lose lightly.
Which is why the Orlesian court is circling it with a net and collar? But you'll have to excuse me. I see an old friend I must greet. Amatus, wading through all the pomp and circumstance I see.
You're back after being away in Tevinter for a month, and this is how you greet me.
I have an apology ready.
What have you learned about this council?
Orlais wants the Inquisition tamed, Ferelden wants it gone, the Chantry meddles, and Tevinter sends but one ambassador. That's me, by the way. A reward for my interest in the South. Thankfully, Ambassador Pavus is a token appointment. Call on me as you like.
Oh.
Is everything all right?
Yes. Well, I wanted to speak with you, and now you're here.
This seems serious.
It's not about me. It's about you. Maybe you should sit.
I can stand.
Maybe I should sit. Inquisitor, I want you to know that I am your friend. I will always be your friend.
Oh, well, that's...
So I hope to give you sound advice on this momentous day. Do what is in your heart, my friend, no matter what anyone might tell you.
That's a lovely sentiment, Cassandra.
Marriage is much more than a lovely sentiment, Inquisitor.
Marriage?
Of course, Dorian being Tevinter will raise eyebrows across the Empire, but if that is you... You're not proposing to anyone. I am going to kill Varric. Why do I believe everything he says? Why?
He said I was going to propose.
He mentioned a proposal. I suppose I filled in the blanks. Or he did this on purpose. That dwarf gets entirely too much joy from my discomfort.
I might get married. I've thought about it.
I suspected as much. Being Inquisitor has brought you good things. Many good things. But only a few have been by your choice. Take what happiness you can from those and do not let them go. That is all I meant to say. Advice from a friend for the days to come.
As the most eloquent dwarf you know, Sparkles...
Speech! Speech! Way too much speech.
Varric, there's really no need.
What's going on?
Inquisitor! You're just in time. Sparkles, the Imperium doesn't deserve you. Or want you. It may even kill you. But we'll miss you. If it counts. And you didn't know. Okay, folks. Time to take the party elsewhere.
Tama never wanted any. I swear.
Leave him.
It's true. I couldn't stay away from Tevinter forever. I'm leaving as soon as the Exalted Council is done.
You said you weren't going back. What's changed?
I don't want to leave, Amatus. My father is dead. Assassinated, I believe. I received notice this morning. A perversely cheerful letter congratulating me on assuming his seat in the magisterium. We only met a few times while I was home. He didn't say anything about keeping me as his heir. This ambassadorship, his doing, I'm told. He must have wanted me away when the trouble began. I have to go back.
I know it was complicated, but I'm sorry about your father.
Thank you. It still doesn't feel real.
So you'll truly be a magister?
Oh, yes. I can't wait to degrade the magisterium with my presence. A new outfit is required.
And then what?
I find my father's killers and kill them back. Then I find those giving Tevinter a bad name and kill them. They're most likely the same people, so that should make the job easier.
You'll need help. I could go with you.
Not this time, Amatus. I won't be entirely without support. Mayveris has gathered other magisters who feel as we do. We'll be an actual faction in the magisterium. I'll teach them manners, take them shopping. It'll be fun.
What of us? This is it, then?
Nonsense. There will always be an us. We'll just be farther apart for a time. Now, don't pout. They'll put that expression on a statue, and then you'll be sorry.
You think this is funny?
Nothing about this is funny. I am sorry, for what it's worth.
I wish you safe travels, and the best of luck.
Oh, I'll need it, thank you. Magisters are tricksy bastards. A present. A going-away present. It's a sending crystal. Amazing what friendship with the Inquisition gives you access to. If I get in over my head, or you're overwhelmed with sorrow for lack of my velvety voice... Magic. What? You didn't think I would just leave and you'd never hear from me again, did you? You are the man I love, Amatus. Nothing will truly keep us apart. Now let's finish the good wine before the others get back.
Elven ruins. I'm not sure we're even in Orlais anymore. Another Kunari, dressed like the one in the Winter Palace.
He's part of their military, dressed for war.
Scorch marks everywhere. This is the work of a mage.
A powerful one. I can still feel the heat crackling.
We need to find out why these Kunari were here, and who did this to them. Like Veilfire. It claimed this was a refuge for elven slaves.
You mean the ancient elves kept slaves? Maker's breath. One more thing never to tell Daisy.
This whole valley was a sanctuary created by the dread wolf Fen-Harel.
Fen-Harel? The Dalish elves' god of misfortune.
Here we go again. What a change of pace from the Winter Palace. A clear sky, a beautiful view, and yes, fields and fields of stripweed as far as the eye can see.
Strip what?
Terrible stuff. Looks like grass, stings like a knife, and causes sores if you so much as brush against it. So, of course, everyone in Menrathus insists it makes a very decent tea.
This is Fen-Harel, helping former slaves as a mortal, not a god.
He took great pains to renounce his supposed divinity.
Ordinary guy saves people, accidentally founds religion. Sounds a lot like the chant, actually.
Fen-Harel sounds like quite the rebel. The old elven gods must have simply loved that.
Why did those Kunari attack the Inquisition on sight?
Kunari never act without orders. A commander in the Qun must have given them.
Are you saying the entire Kunari nation wants us dead?
Well, at last the Inquisition and Tevinter have something in common.
Hidden weapons. These freed slaves actually fought back against the Evanuris, posing as gods.
Interesting word, Evanuris. If all it means is mage leader, well, they were basically magisters.
A note about an unknown intruder coming through an alluvion. They turned spirits against us, then fled.
It must be a mage. They killed any Kunari in the way and let the spirits do the rest.
Two parties, then. The Kunari, and a mystery agent determined to stop them. Come on. We have to warn people about the Kunari's designs on the Winter Palace.
Quite the party, wasn't it? I hear it left the Orlesians and Fereldans completely aghast. Andraste's herald, the Inquisitor, toasting a Tevinter magister. Not a bad scandal to leave on.
What is this ambassadorship about, exactly?
I believe my father set it up, but the Imperium certainly didn't object. They'd love for the Inquisition to fall apart, so they're happy if it seems they consider this council a waste of time.
That makes no sense.
No? If Dread Tevinter actually pushed for the Inquisition's end, everyone else would disagree on principle. So they send a nobody pariah and hope for the best. Makes perfect sense to me.
Any thoughts about the Exalted Council?
A few. Divine Victoria needs a new tailor, for one. From the paintings of Liliana in that enormous robe, you'd think she was pregnant. Could cause a delicious scandal. As for this whole Exalted Council business, well, I warned you once that no one would thank you for saving the world. Sadly, I'm always right. So long as the Inquisition's around to remind them they're not really in charge, they'll never sleep comfortably. Whether they have the guts to take action, I suppose we'll see.
Another time.
I look forward to it. This time of year, it'll be difficult to find a caravan to go all the way back home. Maybe a sea voyage. I could get captured by burly Canary pirates. That would be fun.
Another time.
I look forward to it.
Great. We're in the deep roads. I feel myself getting dwarfier by the minute. Did I just sprout a beard?
Yes, yes. You hate the deep roads.
Cafes, taverns that are too tidy, slopes of greater than 10 degrees.
Look, I have to complain, or you'll forget I'm here and trip over me. I'm providing a service.
Cold stone, dark tunnels, and surrounded by extremely hostile Canary. Not the place I'd have chosen for a romantic homecoming, Amatus.
We'll spend time someplace nicer when we get through this. I promise.
A promise, is it? Don't think I'll forget. Halam Shiral's guest suites are legendary. I've always wanted to try a wyvern-down bed. Can Josephine arrange something?
Is this some sort of old elven library?
It definitely saw a massive magical backlash some time ago.
Let's hope we can track down the Vidasala in all this.
Did you notice? Your anchor is flaring up near magic. Elven magic.
It doesn't hurt when I cast spells. What's causing this?
I'm not sure. Tell us if it gets worse.
Are these records saying Fen'Harel created the veil between our world and the Fade?
If it's true, that means the Fade and the waking world were once one and the same.
This looks like technical notes. What did the Kunari come here to learn?
I recognize some formulas. The Kunari are trying to prove theoretical magic of some kind.
So the ancient Elven Empire collapsed because the veil weakened magic.
If what we're hearing is true, this would have been a disaster beyond measure.
But do you realize what this means? What this place is? The actual history of the elves could change everything. Look at this place. Now that we have so many samples, how hard would it be to build Illuvians of our own?
Oh, I knew this one apostate in Kirkwall you would have gotten along with like a house on fire.
After these past few years, it would just be good to create something magical that is also helpful for a change.
Is that wise?
If I get around to it, I'll send you an Illuvian, Cassandra. Striking women can never be flattered by too many reflections.
If you get around to it, shall I be forced to accept?
If they're gonna stuff me into politics, I've got to have some fun on the side.
You think we could take a couple of these books back with us?
Unfortunately, I don't believe any of these are physical objects. They're ideas. You just see them as books.
I've never read an elven novel. I wonder what kind of stories they told.
Are you all right?
We should hurry.
Here they come!
What caused this threat? We informed the summit of the danger.
The danger posed by Kunari spies inside your organization.
Without our organization, you would not be alive to complain.
No one has forgotten what you have done. But Corypheus is 2 years dead.
If the Inquisition is to continue, it must do so as a legitimate organization, not a glorified mercenary band.
Inquisitor.
You all know what this is. A writ from Divine Justinia authorizing the formation of the Inquisition. We pledge to close the breach, find those responsible, and restore order, with or without anyone's approval. I'm proud to say we accomplished that goal. We will honor the sacrifices of those who gave their lives in defense of what we stood for, and still stand for. Because our work is not done. Where we led in war, We will now serve in peace. The Inquisition will act as Divine Victoria's personal honor guard. Answering directly to her, we will transition from a military force into a peacekeeping organization. My own adventuring days may be done, but the Inquisition and its mission will continue.
My agents have found nothing. With the illusions, he could be anywhere.
Maintaining the Inquisition, even as a peacekeeping force, leaves us vulnerable to agents of the Dread Wolf.
But also gives us the strength to respond.
We will need to be careful.
Solus knows everything about us. Who we are, how we work, our strengths and weaknesses.
Then we find people he doesn't know. We will save our friend from himself. If we can.
Ну вот и подошло к концу видео о Дориане и Инквизиторе. Однако выскажусь я очень кратко, поскольку для меня это не самый сильный роман в серии Dragon Age. И хоть после него я не осталась разочарованной, какого-то приятного послевкусия тоже не испытала. Дело в том, что личный квест Дориана, очень харизматичного героя, сильного воина, умного мужчины, сделан настолько клишированно, что я сначала даже не поверила в то, что единственный смысл его истории – это проблемы с отцом на почве ориентации. То есть, это даже не написанный на коленке сюжет, это просто банальная банальность. Как будто я резко перестала играть в Инквизицию и случайно включила подростковый американский сериал с тематикой «Я гей, а папа меня не принимает». Ну серьезно, вы смеетесь? Какая халтура даже в плане репрезентации. Как бы от фэнтези-РПГ, как по мне, ждешь несколько иной, более глубокой истории, которую Дориан со своим бэкграундом вполне мог бы дать. Он из Тевинтера, И мне было бы безумно интересно узнать больше об этом. Буквально кончиком пальца прикоснуться к тому миру, к магии крови, к свободным и вседозволенным магам, к истории, к этим вот темным и таинственным празднествам в высшем свете. Это была бы такая потрясающая затравка на 4-ю часть. Нам же обещают в ней Тевинтер с кровавыми банями, светскими вакханалиями и жестокостью похлеще, чем в Пробуждении. Но нет. О Тевинтере мы узнаем долгими диалогами, которые все равно потом забываются. Более чем уверена, что их многие еще и тупо проскипали. Так что... Ну что я могу сказать? Дориан отличный персонаж сам по себе, и придумать ему интересный квест не составляло никаких проблем. Этого, к сожалению, не сделали. Роман довольно быстрый, несложный, как-то на основной сюжет не влияющий. Ну, как есть, так есть. Я буду искренне надеяться, что в 4-й части подобной ленивой повестки не будет, а Дориана мы еще встретим как нашего союзника и представителя со стороны Тевинтера. Пишите в комментариях, кого вы романсили, чья история больше всего нравится, и ждете ли 4-ю часть. Если ждете, то поделитесь, придумали ли вы уже своего героя для нее, или только примерно представляете. Я вот пока ориентируюсь на различные теории, в которых говорится, что мы вполне можем сыграть за наемника или шпиона Лилианы. И я этого очень хочу, очень жду и надеюсь, что у нас действительно будет такая возможность. Потому что я давно хочу отыграть пацана с самых низов, без комплексов и капли стыда. Знаете, такого вот простого, несветского, однако знающего себе цену, дерзкого, обворожительного эльфа, который под шумок обчистит все карманы, соблазнит, но оставит в труселях и гордом одиночестве. Надоело мир спасать, хочу балагурить и подкладывать зазнавшимся тевинтерцам грязью ботинки, шпионить, сидя в кустах, и утаскивать со светских столов разные вкусняшки для уличных сирот. Ой, поскорее бы 4-я часть. Ну да ладно, на этом я заканчиваю. Спасибо, что были со мной, и до встречи в других видео.